Hey everybody, it's Jessica. Welcome back. I just wanted to start this video off with explaining this is my full foundation look. This is what I do every single time I start my makeup, exactly like this. It always turns out glowy, super pretty, velvety matte. So if you want to recreate this look, then go ahead and keep watching. Okay, so in my last video, I did mention that when I do my foundation, I mix 3 different foundations together. That's because for me, it has been very difficult to find a color that I like. I have yellow undertone skin, and it is very difficult to find something that matches that olive. It either always turns like an orangey color, or it turns like a gray color. It's not very cute. But I understand that it's kind of unrealistic to buy 3 different foundations to constantly mix together. Another issue I run into is sometimes it will have the coverage, but the finish of that foundation is not smooth looking. It doesn't sit on the skin the way I want it to. I have yet to find a foundation that matches all 3 of those or all 2 of those marks. I went to Sephora today and I picked up the Anastasia foundation, the new one that just came out. It's like the luminous finish. I wanted to test it out just to see if maybe it could hit all the marks. It looked really pretty in the store, so I'm hoping that it will also work well right now. This is the shade 270C, and I believe it was like 40 bucks maybe. So we're gonna see how this looks. So we're gonna set our foundation on. I've already prepped my face with moisturizer. So I know a lot of people use foundation brushes. I personally stopped using foundation brushes probably like 3 or 4 years ago, once I discovered that using a beauty blender to put on my makeup just left a completely different finish and texture. It makes it look as though your skin doesn't really have a cakey look, but it covers and it leaves a really pretty texture on top. But when I do buff out makeup, I use the Sigma
Kabuki brush.
Works really well. Another really good one to use is the
Real
Techniques one. I use this one now for my contour, but it is a very good brush for foundation. It's the It Cosmetics foundation brush. But anyway, so we're gonna jump right into this. This is the color here. It's like a yellowish color. Let's see what it looks like. So this is what we got so far. It does look really pretty with just this first layer that I have set down. But for me personally, I like a little bit more coverage. It does look very nice, very glowy on the camera, but I would like to add a little bit more. So for the contour, I have found that the Shape Tape, the Tarte concealer, works the best. It holds its color, the consistency, and it shades and blends well in the area that you put it in. And so when you set it, it still shows through in your makeup. So one that I have found works really well too, and it's not a secret anymore, is the LA Girl Pro Conceal. It's the HD concealer. You'll go in the same areas just like you do with the Tarte Shape Tape, and it looks pretty much the same. The only difficult thing with the LA Girl concealers to contour is the shade range is limited, whereas obviously some of the higher end brands do have a large selection of shades to work with, which is very nice for somebody that has olive colored skin and very specific shade. So we're gonna go on with the contour right now. And like I said in my video yesterday, when you go in with the brush, and the one I use is the It Cosmetics foundation brush. The good dupe for this is the Real Techniques foundation brush, which you can find at Target, Rite Aid, Walgreens, pretty much anywhere that sells Real Techniques. I believe Ulta also sells it. And this brush was probably like maybe 20 bucks, and the Real Techniques brushes will run anywhere from like $9 to 15 bucks on the high end. So we're gonna go in. Okay, so another thing that I didn't get to mention in the other video because it wasn't as detailed, when I do my contour shading and I stipple it down, if it starts to get a little too dark and too muddy, You still want to have some bright areas where you're contouring, otherwise it all just looks like
muddy.
You'll want to go back in with your foundation and just kind of like barely go in there just to brighten up the spots that are supposed to brighten up. It kind of diffuses a lot of the dark area and makes it look like I really did get tan right here, and it's not just something that you piled on. It's gradual as opposed to very harsh. So we're gonna go in on the cheeks now. My face looks very shiny right now, like I have a lot of makeup on. And here's the thing, with foundation, when you look for a foundation, the matte foundations are lovely if you have no plan on setting them. But if you do set your makeup, and I recommend you always set your makeup, it gives a very beautiful finish to the face, and it sets it for late into the night if you're going out, or into the day if you're doing something, you have a whole day planned of activities, you don't want your makeup breaking down. Mattes will break down whether you set them or not. That's just how they are. I have yet to find a good matte foundation that doesn't do that, but I have found that these wet looking foundations, when you first apply them and then you set them with the powder, stay put almost all day long. All right, so we finished with all that contouring. This is on the lighter side, but there's no need for me to put a ton of contour on. That's not today's goal. So we're gonna move on with our concealer. Obviously, Shape Tape is the best concealer ever, but if you don't want to pay $20 for a concealer, then this is also a good alternative and a good dupe for this one. This is the Maybelline Age Rewind. I have not been able to find a color that I like in this, so I just go with the neutralizer color, and it tends to work really well for me. I've used it alone without anything else on it, and it looks very nice. This is the shade Light Sand for me in the Tarte, so I'm gonna go in there. So I'm gonna go in and with the damp Beauty Blender still blend this all out until it's worked through and it blends into the contour. So for this, when I do my concealer, I do like to work up. If I have not applied my eyeshadow already, normally I do not do my eyeshadow first, it's always foundation first. Only if I'm doing makeup on somebody else, I will do eyeshadow first, because you can run into
So many problems.
It's very hard to fix them if you've completed a whole face routine and then you've messed up the eyeshadow. So I like to work it upwards over the eyelid. So once I set everything, I have the base already set up and I don't have to worry about going back in to put a eyeshadow base over top of a powder that I've already set. Okay, so now we're just gonna set everything, basically. Some people do not like to set their entire face, but I find that it obviously helps the lasting power of your foundation and your concealers, and it also helps any shine, any oil that you have on your face is gonna keep it at bay. I kind of go through setting powders a lot, but right now I've been using the Laura Mercier just because I have a lot of that one right now. It's awesome. Everybody, I know a lot of people that use it, but a awesome alternative. My friend showed me this. I never would have guessed. I have gotten so many compliments on my face because of this setting powder. It is the Airspun. I have also seen this online, other places where people use it. You can get it at Walmart for like $5, I think, compared to like 30 something for this one. So that's a good alternative to look into. And for the sake of showing you that finish, I'm actually gonna just use the Airspun so you guys can see what that looks like, because it is beautiful. So when you set your face with your powder, personally I like to use the little sponge that comes with Laura Mercier. I can literally push the setting powder into the face, so any uneven texture, any enlarged pores I have, I can literally push the makeup into the pores to fill them and completely change the appearance of the texture of your skin. But if you don't want to use that, I highly recommend using a dry beauty blender. Obviously clean dry beauty blender. going in there and working it in and pushing it in the same way you would with this little puff pad thing.
Puff pads.
When you do place setting powder over the contour, even though it's a wet concealer and it needs to be set, I like to go back over it with me fluffy brush.
Fluffy brush.
And basically just use the excess and transfer it over from the rest of the face onto those dark spots. And this setting powder is beautiful. Of course, you're gonna take all this makeup off at night. Do not leave it in your skin. You will break out. With the excess powder that you have on your face, just take any large overall fluffy brush, like so, and just kind of blend everything in. Pretty. This is the Too Faced. There we go. The Too Faced bronzer, the Chocolate Soleil Medium Deep Matte Bronzer. I just love the smell of these. Literally, all of Too Faced's chocolate products literally smell like cocoa. It's amazing. So we're gonna go in there and work back over those spots just to get them a little bit darker. So next we're gonna do the blush. I don't do anything crazy with my blush, honestly, but I do tend to find with olive skin color that peachy color blushes do look a lot better. Well, not better, but they look glowy. They tend to brighten up the face instead of making it look muddy. If you have cooler skin tone undertones, cool undertones in your skin, then I suggest going with a pinky color, like an actual pinky color, not peach. That also looks very pretty. Not to say that you can't cross and mix whatever, because makeup is art. But this is the Tarte Party Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush. And it's a really pretty little pinky color. I just like the way it sets. But if you are looking for something similar, it's a little bit lighter. The Sephora Colorful line, Love at First Sight blush. It is also a pinky color. It's a little brighter, but very pretty as well. We're gonna go in with the Airbrush Powder It Cosmetics brush. Any fluffy brush will be just fine. And lastly, we're gonna finish off with our highlighter. So now I like to use this tapered highlighter one. Amazing. It does it just in the spot where your cheekbone needs to be highlighted. Awesome finish. I also now use the Laura Mercier highlighter. This is Highlight Shade 01. And it looks like that. I would say it's very similar to the Becca Opal highlighter in the terms of its shade, but I like this one better because it has a natural highlight finish to it, as opposed to the Becca one is very fake looking. It's very artificial. It's, in my opinion, it's not flattering. I don't like it. So I'm just gonna apply this right here. Alright, and that is all I do for my foundation. Literally the same exact way every single time. Occasionally I will do it much darker if I am going out and I know it's gonna be nighttime and it's not gonna be able to be seen, or if I am taking photos, I will do it a lot darker. But for the most part, my day-to-day, everyday foundation routine looks just like this. It is very glowy, it's very soft. The finish, like I said, is very smooth. It's very velvety. This is all you need. And most of what this finish comes from is the Airspun. So definitely look into buying that. And in my next video, I'm going to show you guys what kind of eyeshadow I'm going to do over this. I actually want to do like a fall inspired eyeshadow look next. Thanks.